afternoon. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast for tomorrow. If you wake up before 6 a.m., it's probably still going to be in the 50s, and then comes the cold front, dropping us into the 40s through the day and then into the 30s by late afternoon and evening. Along the way, we'll also see light rain showers here in Austin, but I'm actually getting a little bit more concerned that it may not just be rain in the hill country. Take a look. 5 a.m. tomorrow, already starting to see some mixed potential in the hill country. By midday, the latest computer model runs a little bit colder. Pink, could be some sleet, maybe even a touch of freezing rain. Hopefully it won't cause too many issues. And then that all moves out and we just focus on the cold. But I wanted to let you know, one computer model does show some very light ice potential for tomorrow morning to midday. If that happens, it would be those of you in Mason, Gillespie, and Llano counties most at risk. Something to keep in mind. As for rainfall totals, for the most part, 1/4 inch or less. And then there's the wind. It will be howling, sustained 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusts 35 plus. Take a look at the wind. When the cold front rolls through, we could see gusts by lunchtime as high as 20 to 30 miles per hour. By early evening, 41 mile per hour gusts, and even through the night, the winds stay up. So that means the wind chills will also be a factor. Temperatures drop. By lunchtime, we're already down to 41. It will feel like freezing. 38 by 5:30 in the afternoon, feeling like 32. And by morning on Saturday, we bottom out. 30, a wind chill of 24. There may be some spots like Fredericksburg waking up to wind chills in the teens. Good news, though. After that, we spring forward, and so too do temperatures. We'll be right back. We've got an Arctic blast on the way. You go to sleep, it's nice and warm. You wake up tomorrow morning, the cold front is already through. Wind advisory for the Austin area, winter weather advisories to our north, even winter storm warnings in the mountainous areas of New Mexico and Colorado. Where do we stand right now? It's still nice, 67 degrees. Our high today, very spring-like, 74. Even the typical cold spots like the airport are still sitting in the 60s and feeling great, but not so fast. The cold front for now is stalled. It pushes through overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. Teens right now up in the panhandle behind that front. Single-digit wind chills. Tomorrow with our wind advisory, we could see gusts as high as 45 miles per hour. So from today's 74 this afternoon to tomorrow's 38 with wind chills.
Hello. Hope all is well. Thanks for checking in tonight. One question I have for you. I changed the audio settings on this just a little bit, so let me know if the audio is weird. If it is, then I need to do some more tweaking. If it's not, then that's great news. Leanne says, do not like cold weather. I hear you. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am. Hope you're doing great on this Thursday night. It's not cold yet, but the cold is most definitely on the way. I'm Chicago Windler. Welcome to Chik Chats on a late Thursday night, early Friday morning, whichever you prefer. The dogs were up here just a little while ago, but for now they are not coming to visit. If they do, we'll give them a shout out. Hey, she says it's echoing. Okay, you know what? I'll go ahead and turn off this mic, and then that should be all I need to do. We do have a doggy sighting. Let me know if it's better. You say evident, a thankful Thursday. We got Ewok in the house. Skippy, you want to come say hi? I got to pick you up. You're not as good of a jumper. Let me know if it's better. I just toggled off the little audio setting that I had changed, thinking that might fix things. We got both boys. We've got the Skippy and the Ewok. Paige says it's better. Awesome. Leanne says it's great. Excellent. So perfect that we got to see both the boys real quick. They, by the way, are 1 week away from grooming day. So very soon they won't be nearly as scruffy. But I guess since we've got some cold weather coming in, their extra fur will help them out. Did you guys have a good day? Yeah. Hey, we hit 74 degrees earlier today, and hope you enjoyed it because we got a big change on the way. All right, let's talk about it, shall we? First things first. I've got to make sure that the audio is not going to echo. I think we are good. All right, audio setting off. Echo should be gone, and let's take it away. Charles, how you doing? You could probably hear Skipper and Ewok in the background. They typically, once I get home from work, decide it's playtime, so that's what they're doing. They're roughhousing between the two of them. All right, outside right now, lo and behold, I thought we would already have fallen into the 50s, but sure enough, we are still in the 60s in Austin, so that will go down as our official high temperature for the day. Temperatures are going to fall once the cold front arrives, which It's not here yet, but it is on the way, and it does mean business. We've also got cloud cover increasing. No rain just yet, but we've also got precipitation heading our way. And there you go. The front had been stalled up just north of Dallas for the longest time. It is now officially pushed through Dallas, where it's 44 degrees. Check out Amarillo, 17. Lubbock is down to 22. If you had any doubts that this is a strong cold front, those doubts have gone away. Paige, thanks for the thumbs up. That verifies that the audio is good. Charles says, being rowdy. Yeah, that's just what they love to do. All right, so here is your forecast. I didn't tweak all that much. Generally within a couple of degrees of what I'd been thinking the last couple of days. The biggest thing is we now have an official wind advisory that's been put into effect for your Friday. The cold front's going to push through very early in the morning, probably before sunrise. I'm going to say between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning is when it should come through. Mike, good evening to you. An 80% chance of rain, but it's not necessarily going to be heavy rain. It's just going to be, light mist, drizzle, and spotty shower activity. Less than 1/4 of an inch expected. Most locations less than 1/10 of an inch. Winds. They may start in the morning out of the north about 5 to 10, and then they're going to pick up in the afternoon and evening 20 to 30. We could see gusts as high as 45 miles per hour. So that means if it's trash day, the trash could go flying. If you have lightweight furniture outside, it might go into the neighbors next door. If you have any planters that aren't, sturdy, the drill. It's going to be windy outside. So windy, cold, precip, and in the hill country, at least one computer model has gotten a little bit more bullish on our wintry weather chances in the hill country. Then when all is said and done, we bottom out at 30 degrees on Saturday, March 12th. The average latest freeze for Camp Mabry is February 15th. So we're talking nearly a month behind. And then after that, we climb out of the cold. Close to 60 degrees by Saturday afternoon. It's going to feel nice, especially compared to where we had been earlier. We not fall back. We spring forward. Hello. We lose an hour of sleep. Early Sunday, 2 a.m. And then we should see temperatures rebound to 70 degrees by afternoon. That is after a very cold start, only about 34 degrees when you wake up in the morning in Austin. So if you live in the suburbs, if you live in the hill country, it's likely to be even colder than that. Okay, next up, a warming trend. If you got spring break off and you were thinking, I can't believe it's starting like this, hey, next week is looking fantastic. Most areas will see pleasant weather and temperatures in the 70s to around 80 degrees. So whether it's the rodeo, whether it's South by, whether it's just tooling around town, the weather should cooperate just fine once we get into next week. All right, those of you who've been keeping tabs on the cedar situation, it was at 99, just shy of high, which is 100 or greater. Elm also in the moderate range, and then we had mold that was sitting in the low range. So obviously, anytime we have strong winds, unfortunately, that typically means we get higher pollen as well. So just know that is probably a coming attraction, despite the fact that we'll see a little bit of light moisture. Chris Bennett checking in from the Pacific Northwest. How you doing? Charles has all of the windy emojis. You got them all stored up for you. Okay, so what's crazy is, as amazing as it felt today, we're like, oh, it's in the 70s. That's actually typical. Isn't it interesting? After a few days of 50s and 60s, 70s felt great today, but that's just average for this time of year. The records are in the low 90s, set back in 1955. All right, as we track the rain so far this month, we're now 0.8 of an inch below average. This year, we're 1/4 of an inch. And the new drought monitor did come out earlier in the day. Let me see if I popped it up here. I may have to drag it, or I may have to hold off on showing you the drought monitor for today. But it did come out, and unfortunately, much of the hill country has had the drought expand. So severe drought for those of you in the hill country. What's ahead? The Arctic blast. First thing in the morning, we're tracking cold, we're tracking wind, we're tracking rain. I can't believe it's March and we're still talking about this stuff. Okay, so we will be under a wind advisory, a winter weather advisory, meanwhile, to our north, and even winter storm warnings through portions of Colorado as well as the mountainous areas of New Mexico in March. Yep. Outside right now, Frostbank Tower from our Chase Bank camp, 63 degrees the temperature, which will likely, as I mentioned, go down as the high for the day. 52 in Llano, 51 Fredericksburg, 62 degrees in LaGrange. When we start to see the precip develop, it will probably start as just some patchy mist and or drizzle. I'm going to go ahead and remove the cold front that I had plotted earlier. That was from the 10 o'clock news because the front has dropped a little farther to the south. So right now we've got 33 in Abilene, 33 in Midland, 44 in Dallas. Pretty easy to see where the front is, just to our north. And if it's a little quick, like for instance, right now, it's kind of looking like Mason County is right on the doorstep. If the front barrels in a little quicker, then our temps fall a little faster, then all bets are off for potential light wintry mix in our area. So just know it's a thing to come. Wind chill, did you see that? In Amarillo, the wind chill is currently 0, like 0 is what it feels like. Okay, so we were 74 this afternoon. Friday, I've got us falling into the upper 30s. But it won't feel like that. It will feel like upper 20s because of the strong gusty winds. Remember, wind advisory in effect. I've got the winds by afternoon out of the north at 20 to 30 miles per hour. So that means you're going to take that 38-degree temperature and it's going to feel more like 32. It's going to be raw and blustery and just uncomfortable. As for precip chances, I think they're going to peak around mid-morning or so, 70 to 80% chance that we see some light rain. And it's going to be rain for the most part. However, if the front moves through a little quicker and temps fall a little faster, we've seen sleet in 50-degree weather. So what's to say that we wouldn't see a little light wintry mix in even cooler conditions? As of now, even though the front is basically, and I can go ahead and draw it in there for you since it's now made a little bit farther south progress. Bear with me, I'm going to find that front. Here we go. So roughly, we'll draw it in right about here. Sorry. Just kidding. I got a little heavy-handed there. We'll draw it in right about there, just to the north of our area. So far, the majority of the precip is lagging well behind the actual front itself, but it is currently snowing in the Texas Panhandle where they are expecting 1 to 3 inches of the white stuff. What can we expect? So by 5 a.m., it's light rain and drizzle in Austin. However, this pink, which is the wintry mix, has actually dropped a little farther south with the latest computer model run. And take a look as we work our way toward lunchtime. Lo and behold, this is one computer model. There are many others that say it doesn't happen, but this one is kind of like our worst case scenario, if you will, and suggesting that there might be wintry mix through much of the hill country. Highway 281, maybe even into western Williamson County and on toward the north. So heads up, can't rule out some sleet. Maybe if temperatures fall all the way to freezing, maybe a touch of icy glaze, something to keep in mind. Fred, you have a great weekend as well. And Sally, hi, thanks for checking in tonight. All right, so the precip moves out by about 6 p.m. and then we are dry for the rest of the night and on into the morning when temperatures area-wide fall to freezing. All right, and I thought I would play devil's advocate, which is what if we do see the worst case scenario? What if temperatures do fall to freezing and the precip hasn't moved out yet? How bad could it be? Well, this is the worst case. As you can see, maybe a light glaze on elevated surfaces through parts of Mason, Gillespie, perhaps parts of Blanco, maybe parts of Burnett and Llano counties as well. At this point, I've not seen anything that shows any impacts from ice for the I-35 corridor. So just know, yes, there might be a touch of icing. There may be a glaze on some elevated surfaces, more than likely, if it even happens, in the hill country. As far as rain, that is likely to happen area-wide. Not a lot, though. Maybe a 1/10 of an inch for most areas, possibly as much as a 1/4 of an inch. Right now, this computer model is suggesting about 13/100ths of an inch, so not a lot. What's interesting is the last few weather events we've had haven't had a lot of moisture, and yet they've still had somewhat of an impact. The wind advisory officially goes into effect for Milam County from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. For the Austin area from noon until midnight. Just know when you walk outside in the morning, you might say, oh, yeah, it's not too windy yet. Well, it will become progressively windy through the day. So hold on to your hats, bring in anything that could, fly around, decorations, that kind of thing, and be ready. Latest trajectory for those strong wind gusts. Folks in Mason County, you always get the worst weather first. Could see those winds gusting over 20 miles per hour as early as 5 a.m. Front continues pushing to the south, and we could see winds gusting up to 33 miles per hour in San Marcos by lunchtime, only to be surpassed by winds that could be gusting as high as 40 to 45 miles per hour in the early evening. Then, as we continue through Friday night, winds don't give up, but they do start to be less windy. So by daybreak on Saturday, sustained winds drop to around 10 miles per hour. Wind gusts drop to around 15 to 20 miles per hour. So it'll still be breezy, but it won't be as windy. So whenever we talk about wind and talk about cold, well, we get wind chills. So we'll talk about the wind chill. You came back to say hi. So whenever you talk about wind chills, that's how it feels. So that means this little guy, if he goes on his walk tomorrow, is going to get the extra jacket. Same thing with the Walkster. Just make sure that you're prepared for it to feel a good 5 to 10 degrees colder than the temperature. So take a look. By lunchtime, I'm forecasting low 40s in Austin, but look at this. In Georgetown, in Burnet, in Llano, in Mason, in Fredericksburg, in Blanco, we're in the 30s by midday and super close to freezing in Mason, which is why, again, there might be a light glaze on elevated surfaces, something to keep in mind. All right, let's fast forward through the rest of the day. As we make our way toward early evening, this is 5:30. The 30s have spread all the way east to Elgin. And we've got wind chills at freezing in Austin. And then we make our way through the overnight, Friday night into Saturday morning. By Saturday morning, when you go outside, you may just open the door and say, nope, not going to do it. This will be just for March, just not okay. Area-wide hard freeze, wind chills in the 20s. Some locations, like in the hill country, might see wind chills in the teens. Not going to be fun at all. But the good news is we do climb out of the cold, and by afternoon, we warm up close to 60. Sunday, a freeze expected for most outlying areas. I'm forecasting 34 in the city. And then by afternoon, we're up to about 70 degrees. So Sunday afternoon is kind of like when we flip the switch. Well, actually, let's say when we spring forward at 2 a.m. Sunday, we flip the switch. And after that, it looks really warm from there on out. Okay, in terms of rainfall totals, basically a tenth of an inch or less. This is just over the course of the next week. Tenth of an inch or less, I-35 points west, maybe some spots up to a quarter of an inch east of I-35. I did stick in a 10% rain chance on Monday, and that's because there's going to be another cold front that comes through. It's a mainly dry, weak cold front. There are some signs with that one, though, that there may be some moisture that tries to develop just east of I-35. So for that reason, a small rain chance possible. But hey, good news if you're going to be partying it up on St. Patrick's Day. Right now, it looks like Thursday will be warm in the 80s and dry. But then Friday the 18th, there may be another cold front that brings some rain around. Okay, forecast rainfall. This is over the next 7 days, all the way through St. Patrick's Day, incidentally enough. On the left-hand side, you see the GFS computer model, which has been the one that hasn't been very heavy. On the right-hand side, lo and behold, the European computer model every day this week has been kind of going bonkers on rainfall, giving some areas a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch. Finally, it has kind of pulled back and is now in line with the other computer models. So I think it's fair to say more than likely we're looking at a quarter of an inch or less for the most part. Temperature-wise, March 19th through 25th, warmer than average, and that will include all of central Texas. So finishing out next week and heading into the following on a very spring-like note, not only warmer but also drier, as the wetter conditions will be visiting Chris Bennett up in the Pacific Northwest and also visiting portions of the Ohio Valley, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic. And that brings us back around to the 7-day forecast, which, as you can see, is all kinds of willy-nilly through the next 48 hours. But after that, we actually see a nice little stretch. And worth noting, I do not, after Sunday morning, see a repeat of freezing temperatures. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to jinx it. I'm not going to jinx it. But maybe, just maybe, the temperatures we have over the weekend might be the last hurrah. But again, I don't want to jinx it, so I won't totally go in there just yet. As always, you can get updates anytime with our CBS webpage, cbsawesome.com/weather. Also, our weather app, free in the App Store. Those of you on YouTube, thank you as always for checking in.